So I bring the Acts and Reps Committee meeting the 17th of April to order. Start by the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, very good. Take attendance. John Botel, attendance.
Lisa Long, Lori Clark.
Carol Palmer-Zabunga.
Perfect. Apologies from Chris Whitman, Bridget Whitman, and who else was missing? Celia O'Brien.
I don't know about Brian, if he's coming in.
Or if he comes in, then that's not a problem. Now, minutes of the last minute meeting. Bridget apologises that she hadn't gotten to us with the race thing going on, I going away, just completely went ahead. So, if we could get a motion to table that till the next meeting, and then we'll just catch up with them.
I make a motion to wait until the next meeting to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
I'll second it.
All those in favour? Motion passes. Okay, item number 3, the Treasurer's Report.
I got updated reports from Michelle last week. I know that there was some question about baseball registrations and how much we had brought in for them, and my question is, how many kids do we have?
64.
And I just want to remember them.
64 kids registered.
Okay, so I think it's kind of hard. I've got a couple questions in for Michelle because sponsorships and registrations got combined, but it appears
I know when we met last time we were a little bit behind, and we were hoping for a big surge in registrations to swing that back, to get us back on board here.
yeah, so according to, and it doesn't sound right, but I haven't had a chance to, this is Ben.
The kids bought me a whole bunch of them.
That's funny. Anyway, it doesn't sound right, but it says that we have $388 in our account balance, but I'm thinking that's not a true number, but I honestly haven't had a chance to take everything that's on here since the last report and input it into my spreadsheet. So the only thing that I can say is that we just need to be super careful.
Yes.
What it should be with 68 kids.
Yeah, well, it was a little off, but it looks like, I can give you a number in a few minutes on what we brought in for baseball registration.
Okay.
If we can come back to me.
Sure, yeah, let's go back. When we go across then to, let's just skip the Treasury Report for now and go to the baseball update. Lisa.
So, registration, I have 64 kids that registered, which gives us 2 T-ball teams, 2 junior level teams, which is first, second, and I think 1 third grader. It gives us 1 senior level boys team, which is 4th through 6th grade, and 1 softball team, which is 4th through 6th grade. I have a couple, well, more than a couple, I have a few kids that I know are going to be on teams, and somehow we just have missed getting registration forms, and many of those people are on the committee, so I know I can get a hold of them and get those forms. So when we do the money brought in from registration forms, we have to take into account that all of our coaches and anyone on the board does not pay.
Sure.
So that's quite a bit, actually. I can't think off the top of my head. I've got probably 10 kids.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other problem that I have had with the registration forms and trying to keep track of who's paid and who hasn't is some of the forms that I got given to me from Chris and Bridget were originals, some of them weren't.
Yep.
and not many of them were marked up in the corner whether or not they were paid or not. So I really have no way of
So you don't
tracking
know
that.
whether, yeah,
So I think that's something that we need to address moving forward because we've brought in $740 for registrations and it should have been 1,280 minus, what'd you say, 10 kids, so 200, so let's say 1,080 is what we should have. Yeah, so we're short, $340. So and we're okay to give financial aid, but we really need to start using that top right-hand corner, whoever picks up the registration forms, whether it be Lisa or Bridget and I think in the future sports, it was tough for basketball and I think it's been tough for baseball, having more than one person responsible for picking those up.
yeah, because the cash, there's no money trail. It's not clear who's handling what.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And for me personally, it would make sense for whoever the liaison is for that sport to be the one that picks up the forms because they're the ones that have to do everything with them, like I've made copies and
Does the
copies.
issue come down to being able to be bonded to handle the cash then?
I don't know, and I'm going to pose a question, ask that the question be posed to MMA for that, because, let's talk about like the concession stand. It's not reasonable to have a bonded person stand behind that
True.
counter every time. Yeah, are all committee members automatically bonded because we're sworn in to follow the rules in the
Yeah.
Constitution? I don't know the answer to that.
Sure.
I know that we've been told in the past that Chris is the only one that should be accepting money, but if that's true, then it's Chris, not Bridget, which is another situation.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So I think we do need to ask that question be clarified with, maybe we can get something in writing that we can put into our bylaws one way or the other. So if we could get something in writing
Sure.
from MMA or whoever has, I know that the bonding issue has come up in the past. It just doesn't make logical sense to me. So I just want to
Well,
understand.
Chris gets the money and he's just saying, perfect example is the concession stand. If he picked the money up with petty cash and then gave it to the person on, it's immediately left his hand then, so.
That's right. I
And
can
it
see
wouldn't
that.
be signed or anything. And it wouldn't be reasonable to have Chris be the only one that works the concession stand
Yeah.
to receive and give money
Yeah.
for every sport all
Yeah,
the
so
time.
it can't be one way for registrations and another way for money from another, it's
Yeah,
either
yeah.
one or the other.
Sure.
So I think we do need clarification on that,
But either way, we need to.
either way, whoever is doing it needs to start marking the forms so that we can keep
Is it the
track.
new forms or the old forms that don't?
The new.
The new.
They have the box, but nobody's
Oh,
utilizing
they're
it.
just not filling it, oh, right, I see, so we just need
So-
better protocols.
There have been a few that I picked up because I was under the impression Bridget was gone last week, not this week.
Right.
And I filled them out, it was easy enough to do, it's just a lot of them came in and it didn't say whether they were paid or not.
Right.
So
okay.
And some people might turn it in and have the intention to pay later, they're not really asking for assistance.
Sure.
They just want to hit that deadline, but we don't know that if it's not marked.
So, and then we just have to check.
And that's a lot of money, $300 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then I would
So we've
hate,
already got 300 in the account.
Yeah,
and then I would hate to call people and say, I really need your registration, and they say, oh no, I already paid, I have no way to prove that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you can't, yeah.
so the other piece of this money thing is that we had talked about buying t-shirts or, I know Bridget worked really hard to get a couple sponsors so that she could get new softball uniforms. That can't happen. There's just not the money in the account to do it.
I thought the idea was that the sponsors would have paid for those.
We would hope, but it looks like they've brought us up into the positive.
Oh, right.
If we only have $388
Gotcha.
and
Oh, I
we
see.
brought in $450 in sponsors,
Right, and that's after the registrations?
yes,
Right, okay.
that's everything. The only thing actually,
How do we square that now with these sponsors? Because they've obviously essentially
that's
paid
right.
for something.
So, what do we do? I'm pretty confident that I can get one more sponsor.
I'm fairly confident that I can get at least one more.
So do we want to,
How much are hats with the sponsors' names on them?
I don't know, I wasn't here last year when it was still bought. Do you, any of you know? No. we're gonna have to do something.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't really have a choice, because they've given us that money in good
No.
faith, and they've actually been told that their team's gonna have a t-shirt and a hat. That's what they were told. So it's kinda,
Right.
like, we kinda have to do it,
Mm.
you know? But as far as anything, we gotta really, as a committee, work hard to get a couple more sponsors, you know? If every one of us could get one, you know, that would make the difference.
And how much is the sponsorship?
275.
And the other thing about hats and shirts is we have to order those, like,
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
So let's hope that they're not more than $388 first, and second, I mean, we do have more than that in the account, because we have, like, Chris hasn't received his fourth stipend pay.
Sure, but we.
You know, but we're
okay.
encumbered to take that out now, so we could cover it as long as, like, we are sure, as a committee, like, I am sure 100% that I could get a sponsor.
Sure.
yeah.
I've already
I'm
told
told,
yes,
yeah.
I just gotta get the check.
I'm fairly sure that I can, well, I've convinced my business partner that we'll just sponsor it. So
Yeah,
it shouldn't be that difficult to do. So, yeah, I'm sure that we can do that as well, but, thinking logically, the hats, Kevin getting many names on a hat, right?
last year, I think the hat said Acton Rec, and the t-shirts, what?
Yeah.
Had, no.
No, vice versa.
Vice versa.
The
t-shirt
shirt
said
says Acton Rec, the hat says the company name.
that. Which it
But that would
should
only be
be.
one sponsor then, on the hat. If we,
Right, you
we're
can't
talking-
put
You will put per team, team that.
So if you sponsor a team, you're gonna sponsor a team, you, as a sponsor, you know, your name's gonna be on the hat. You get a team photo as a thank you, you know, that you can hang up in your place of business with, you know, and that was.
We have the room for 6, we have 6 teams, so we could do 6
We've
teams.
got
And
two,
make
yeah.
it even.
I would suggest we do the hats, because we need hats, and just use the t-shirts that we have, and when we're in such a negative.
shirts.
The only problem with that is that the
Well, which is
softball
cheaper?
team doesn't have any.
Doesn't have
Why
any
should we use
shirts.
the red ones?
So the problem,
Hey, Brian.
the
There
problem,
should be another red.
the problem
Oh, there's a mix
is
of on
that
timings, so it's all.
I don't believe we're gonna have enough shirts to fit the 4th through 6th grade boys and the 4th through 6th grade girls.
Think, that probably, did you look at that list?
I did briefly.
And you don't think there's enough in that
I-
list? Some of the, I think that's why the shirts were
Yeah,
two
sure.
totally different shirts. Because
Yeah,
it's some will be softball and some will baseball, because the box
We
ones
didn't- we
meant
released that, we already did.
purple ones and women's. So,
We
I
skipped
think, how
this
many
because
kids
we
are on
did this
16?
all the time, so we're.
I think there's enough for each of the red that there would be enough to be able to do that. If we were to just go with the shirts that we have and then hats for everyone.
I have
That would be the cheapest way out, is my thought.
10, maybe 11 boys. I see, and that's another thing, is I still have people saying, oh yeah, we're gonna register, and I'm just waiting.
Does
So
anyone
I
have
have-
a folder?
I didn't bring my calendar.
I have 10, maybe 11 boys, and 9, maybe 10 girls.
Do you have the list of, when I did the inventory?
I don't have the materials here, no.
I didn't bring mine because I wasn't home.
Yeah.
Show, and those were good sized shirts, so I would think that they would fit most of the kids.
Are they all the same as well?
There's, some of them are like in oval. Gray with red lettering, there's 9 adult small, 3 adult mediums. And then the red, I tried to separate them. They said Acton Rec underneath, and then some of them said Acton Rec on the side. And there's 5, so there's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 on that one. And then these ones, the red is 15 shirts, and there's 5 youth extra large, 2 adult large, and 5 youth large. And those are all good size shirts. they weren't like the younger kids' extra large shirts. They were like 5th, 6th, 7th grade. Oh, those were just the pants. These are the two that would have been the big ones for the older kids. I think there would be enough in those two to do the soccer.
So I'm still
softball and-
short, I'm still
You're
short a
still short.
team.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I
The
have
Burgundy
16.
only had 4 shirts.
Right.
Yeah, so there's 10 on that one, 13 shirts on that one, shirts.
Worst case scenario, it's a lot less shirts,
Right, we'd have to buy at least one
one set.
set,
Yeah.
one team worth of shirts.
Right, but then do we do shirts that one team gets to keep versus shirts that we're gonna put into the inventory for ongoing?
Price-wise, it would be cheaper to get the ones that they get to keep, however, that may be
Team
unfair.
in the orange, you could do.
What did those look like though? Did they have a soccer ball on them?
Can I just, I don't know, I mean, you can't buy t-shirts for one team
No,
and not
I don't
everybody
think
else.
that's fair at
That's not
all.
fair at all, because especially the younger kids
Right.
absolutely love keeping those t-shirts. I mean, I know Blake and Molly, that's their favorite shirt, you know,
I see them around school.
and you see them around school, so
I think some of the soccers we could, especially for the younger kids, they're not gonna know the difference. Some of them had the checker on them and some of them were more solid, and I think that one of the soccer ones we could use for the younger kids if we use the reds.
But what if we said worst case scenario that we get another 2 sponsors? That's another, say, $600.
Yeah.
So we're nearly $1,000 then.
Yeah, no, we do have the money if we get those if we commit to it, and, you know, but we have to follow through with it.
Yeah.
I
We have
know
those
that,
sponsors.
I know that last year, we had one sponsor for every team, and that was more than enough to get hats and shirts. They said that we actually profited a little bit from it. Not a lot, but
Yeah,
Okay, so, I mean, let's focus on that in the next week, 10 days, making that happen and getting that in the account and getting these shirts ordered. Because then at least every kid gets to keep a shirt and every kid gets to keep a hat.
Right.
And there's, you know, there's nobody then saying they got theirs and we didn't get ours.
But I thought we were gonna go forward with not buying shirts for them to keep. I thought we were gonna go forward with full uniforms.
we were, however, we weren't really prepared to have 64 kids sign up.
there weren't 64 kids in the baseball program last year.
Yeah, no, it's about double, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at least 25 over.
And you also weren't prepared for the $800 or whatever that was taken out of your account, for plowing and hay and stuff like
Yeah.
that the rec
Yeah, there's
network.
a couple of things that we didn't
So that
budget.
$800 or whatever the total dollar amount makes a big difference
Yeah.
in the end.
Yeah, it does when we're playing around with such small numbers,
So-
it makes a big margin.
In fairness to the rec, it isn't, the reason why you're short of money isn't your shortcomings. It's stuff that was paid out of the account that you guys didn't know anything about.
So, to wrap it up, we have we have 2 sponsors, we need 4 more,
Okay,
so that we'll have 1 sponsor for every team.
okay, I'm just gonna go.
Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that definitely we will be one of those.
Okay.
And if he doesn't wanna do it, then I'll just do it. So,
Okay.
but I'm sure he'll be fine with it, it's fine.
I've been given a verbal yes from one person, and all I need to do is catch them and give them the paperwork and get the check.
And I have one, like, standing that has told me every sport, every season, just come back and
Yeah,
they'll give me a check. So that's 3, 4, 5, we just need one person to get 1 more.
Do you know if, which sponsors Bridget got?
she got, Chris's work,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna suggest.
and I have the name of the other one, it's a construction company.
Okay.
I just can't think of it off the top of my head, I'm sorry. Michelle gave it to me, I can't find it.
Okay.
So,
Well, we're gonna be pretty close, even if we get just 3.
right,
We probably already have,
Right.
so I think we'll Be okay on that.
And then more of a baseball update, our opening ceremony. The 2 weekends that would be ideal to have it, I am personally working both of those weekends. So, our options are to have someone else run the ceremony or to have it on a Sunday rather than a Saturday.
Are you working the first Saturday in May?
Yes.
we can't be around the second Saturday, my son's birthday.
I hate to do it on a Sunday.
It's the first weekend. I want to have either the last weekend of April, which I'm working, I'm trying to get it off, but I'm not
So that's the
having a
20th.
whole lot of
Well,
luck.
Sunday for Sunday.
Well, traditionally, it's not done on a Sunday, that's why I'm bringing it to the committee.
I think maybe if you did it after,
We go to church.
church time,
I don't think
I
any,
think it would be, what,
12th,
May 5th?
yeah, May 5th.
Okay.
May 5th at 12.
At noon?
That way everyone can.
Or May 5th or April 28th.
Well, I work that day
Are you
too.
working that day too? Okay.
Well, Carol, you go to church, what's the latest
You
church?
get out like 11.
12 would be reasonable, but I would give people time to have lunch and stuff. I would probably do a 1 o'clock
Okay,
would be fair, and I,
That'd be a nice afternoon, it's good weather. So.
yes.
so we'll say May 5th at 1. Okay. And even more, this baseball update is longer than anyone thought it was gonna be. We can't have an opening day ceremony with that ditch still the way it is.
Because
That
we-
needs to be filled in.
There's a lot of work that we've got down that we need to get done before, what is it, July 1st?
Yeah, but like I was saying earlier, John, in the workshop last night, I couldn't tell you the time frame, but they were talking on shutting off all expenses.
So we gotta get it in
It
quick.
was sometime in May, I don't know.
It's at least, what happens is they don't want you to incur any expenses that a bill's gonna come in after the new fiscal year.
Gotcha, yeah.
So I can't remember if it was, they recommended
Haven't we
like 4
already been done for
weeks,
this
but
year?
2 weeks is the absolute cutoff, I think.
Last year, they just shut everybody down.
Haven't we already been billed for this work then?
This was a volunteer that was going to fill it in.
Alright, okay.
So that needs to, needs to be done before May 5th, like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm not even 100% comfortable with letting the kids out there to practice. However, they need to.
Do we know what
We
needs-
can't have kids out there practicing with it open. You
100%.
can't start your practices until.
Do we know what needs to be done? I mean, is there anything else that needs to be signed for, or is it literally just need to come along and...
It's already passed inspection, supposedly, it's been approved by Ken Paul CMP, our power
We
is
have
on.
power, I was.
So I would say it just needs to be better.
Okay,
But you have to make sure there's some tape there, that's all.
What do you mean tape?
in case they dig.
The dig safe stuff,
Yeah.
Chris is well aware of that stuff, I think.
And we need to order our infield mix and get the infield ready as well.
Do you want to look at a date for getting some people down there to...
So I went down there yesterday and I literally lost a shoe in the mud.
Nice, so not just yet then.
Not yet. The field itself is wet and soggy, but it's not terrible. It's that space in between the dugout and the field where you have to
Yeah.
go through, that's bad. I don't know if we want to put something down there.
We'll go ahead. At least to try to soak some stuff up and then we can rake it up.
Yeah, we could try that. It's really bad. It literally went 3/4 of the way up my shin.
Now, the school's already started practicing
In the gym.
in the gym. Is it an option for us to, kind of like the skills and drills, go into the gym, because it's getting late, go into the gym and do a couple, even if it's more like a skills and drills, but with just your coach before then, or you don't want to practice before opening day?
I am working with the school now on getting the gym.
Okay.
It would have to be after 5 because their practices don't end until 5.
Yeah, I think with basketball, our practices were after 5.
And then my other thought is their field looked like it was
Six was the
pretty
earliest.
stinking close to
Hmm.
being ready. I was gonna ask if we could maybe
It was
use
case.
that a little,
Yeah.
you know, also.
It always has been ready after April vacation.
Yeah, it looked
Just better.
It looked like there was no more snow or water on the field, I just didn't walk out there to see, you know, how soggy it was.
Is the school gonna come up and, last year, they came up and they, come up with a tractor in York Rate.
The York Rate,
Did the
yeah.
infield and stuff like that, are they gonna do that again this year?
So today, Tracy Scully, the athletic director, reached out to me about our fields and, you know, preparation for those, and I haven't heard anything officially from anyone about the school using our fields. So she says she's been in contact with Bridget and Chris, so I guess I have to get in touch with them. But I don't know if they're planning to use our field for every home game, if they're gonna use it for their practices.
We've got to have some kind of diary from what
Correct.
they want. 'cause-
So that's, I'm wondering, she
It's
says that she's been in contact with Chris, I'm wondering if he knows and I don't
Okay.
know. But my understanding would be
Softball
That
used to
they-
play there.
that they offered to have someone come up with their tractor and help us,
Yeah.
you know, with the
Well,
field.
we tried to do it on our own last year and it was hard going.
Yeah,
Very hard going.
Well, the thing is, I mean, how they've been working it in the past is, say, if they played whatever school, Sanford or whatever, they'd have to bring the boys and girls together. They'd have the boys' game going on down to the school and the girls' game going on up here. With that being said, and, I mean, I've got nothing against them using the field, obviously, but you guys have 6 teams
There's a lot of
that you have to schedule, and,
Well, I guess we
it isn't just you guys working around their schedule, they can kind of
Yeah.
work around your schedule a little bit too, because it is a rec field.
let's get together with Chris and find out what's been discussed with Tracy
yeah.
to figure out.
So who's gonna talk to us and figure that out?
I will, yeah, I've already responded to Tracy's, message reaching out to me to try and see what her plan is. I know that they've got their schedule all done for the year, I just don't know what their plan is for using fields or where they,
Do you know when they're planning their opening games?
their first game is the 26th, I think.
Right?
Yeah, it's like,
Well, it's not
yeah.
going to be on our field.
Well, that's-
Unless they're planning on
that's-
wearing Wellington boots.
My concern with not knowing what's going on. Their first game is Friday 26th and it's a home game.
I mean, they do have the softball field and the baseball field.
Yep.
You just can't down there, they just can't play at the same time.
Sure.
Why can't they?
Well, I guess we just have to monitor the field, see how it goes, and then lean on them to help out York Lake and it.
Yeah.
The way
I mean, if we have any more days like this, it shouldn't take long to dry out.
That way,
Right.
softball goes out that way.
Okay. Anything else on the baseball front?
We talked about sponsors and shirts and hats, and we talked about
You hit a phone.
the opening day, oh, the
Oh,
hit-a-thon.
your opening day. We
So-
should go over our opening day a little more, like what the plan is for opening
So
day.
opening day, my plan is to, sorry, I can't talk and write at the same time. My plan is to see if, I was thinking the school chorus, but I don't know that that's gonna work on a Saturday or even a Sunday. But maybe Terry Minahan might come and sing the national anthem for us. I would like to find some way to get some sort of a speaker and a microphone, or even if I have to get a bullhorn and do it that way, I'd like
I
to.
think Terry has like a mobile one, doesn't she?
Well, that's what I was thinking, but I don't
Yeah.
want to completely count on her, you
Yeah,
know, in
sure.
case she has something else going on. And announce every kid, you know, out on the field, and I would like to have the concession stand up and running so that, you know, people can get concessions, and I would like to do our hit-a-thon that day. Now, I have the hit-a-thon pledge form done, I'm still working on the, like, I don't know, face sheet of it, I guess to call it, which it just explains what the hit-a-thon is, why we're doing it, please, sponsor your kid. And I'll get that out. I don't know if through Facebook is the best way to get it out, or to try and have the coaches individually get it out.
I think that, my opinion is that you get it to the coaches and have them distribute it, get the email address for the team, and maybe they can email it out to the parents, or get it to a printout of it to the kids, or, I kind of put it on the coaches to try to get that.
Okay.
It could be on the Facebook page
Yeah,
too.
Also.
Yeah.
Also, but I
Coaches-
think the coach needs to, don't you
The
agree?
dialogue with the coaches and the parents would be great to get that done. I think that's gonna be a lot more beneficial.
Okay.
Putting it out there and people not seeing it.
And so,
John, you are the only one, I think, besides Bridget, that can post on the Facebook
Yep.
page. So can Lisa send it to you once it's
Absolutely,
ready?
I'll get it posted straight away.
okay, so we'll do the national anthem,
We haven't changed it.
the national,
Changing that,
so, sorry.
We tried to, but it was, I think there was an issue, there was a discussion with, and I'm trying to remember because it wasn't me that had the discussion. I think it was a discussion between Chris and Jen, where they wanted to be able to control the narrative of what was getting put on that page. So they decided that they only wanted one point of posting. Other people can still, I think other people can still post
No.
as an editor to the sideline.
No, we
right?
can't.
We can't post it all.
So then my other concern about that, I know this is totally off topic, but I know that we had been spoken to in the past about the committee voting on things and then having it not happen, and how that was not okay.
Right.
And again, we voted on this and it hasn't happened.
Right.
And
It's
it's
never been
still,
brought up since.
so maybe
I
that's
mean,
something we
yeah, I
can
mean,
revisit.
who brings it up with Jen? That's the thing. I mean, if we're bringing it up, we say we want it to happen. I mean, I honestly don't even know how it hasn't happened, because I thought that everything had been ticked on it. But if, essentially Jen, if you like, the face of the selectmen is saying, no, we want a single point of contact on that, where do we go?
We just tell them that the committee voted on it and much like the rules that we've been held to in the past, it should stand.
Okay.
Right?
That's what I think. Unless it's a legal issue, I mean, I don't see where
not.
the thing being a legal issue, I think that's.
It doesn't look like one way or the other.
Yeah, I don't see the problem with, with a post on it. I mean, I don't think anyone in the community is gonna be rude and vulgar.
I think that was the worry, that it could descend into an online argument, which would kind of bring the online face of action or the rec into some kind of negative light. I think that was the
Don't you
overriding
think
thing.
that if there was a problem, it could be taken down and that person could get their rights
Well, yeah, I mean-
suspended?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem to be going to
That
any
goes right
problems.
back to the board and holding yourself, liable, and, you
John,
took oath to be on this board, so, take an oath to
You
post
were,
something on Facebook also.
you were told Tuesday night by the chairman of the selectmen. He made some comments about the rec committee,
Sure.
and it was nothing but positive. Everybody on the committee, and he stated he was very happy the way the committee members had really brought the rec to the next level. And myself personally, I mean, they're saying how great everybody is and how everybody's doing good and working together, and I just don't see that as an issue.
All right, well, I don't think I'm able to change it. I think again, it has to be that either Bridget and or Chris, whoever it is the thing, because I think I'm an admin on it, and you need to be the page owner to be able to.
I was given rights to it for about 3 hours to come in and play around with it, and then they took it away.
Alright.
Because it was like, okay, I'm gonna make you this, try this, and I
Alright,
tried
okay.
that, and it's like,
And that was Bridget,
no,
was it?
yeah, and
Alright, okay.
so she was, I think Carrie actually helped her do it.
Alright.
She gave Carrie her login, because Bridget couldn't figure it out, I think is exactly.
And if that's the case, it should be Chris, not Bridget also, because Chris is the.
If you're asking Chris to do it, we're never gonna have a Facebook page.
Right, but Bridget has as much authority as us,
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, no, I agree.
She's the secretary.
Okay,
So back to opening day. Sunday, May 5th at 1 o'clock.
I got that down.
We're gonna have the national anthem. We're gonna announce each kid, run out on the field, we'll do the hit-a-thon. We'll have some small prizes for the hit-a-thon, you know. I was thinking like a small prize for the longest hit, the most money raised, and then maybe like the second longest hit or something like that, so that every,
By group?
well,
By age.
my concern with that is whatever we have for prizes, I'm gonna buy out of my own pocket, so I don't wanna have to get, you know,
Yeah.
15 of them if I don't have to, but,
But you're not gonna
wanna
have
try. That's why I
kid
said,
hitting what a
that's why I
softball.
was thinking the most money raised, you know, cause that doesn't have anything to do with
Right.
something along those lines. I'll come up with 3, whatever, so that it's as fair as it can be for the pre-Kers and the 6th graders.
Sure.
And then we'll just, you know, call the day to a close, and hopefully at that point we'll have game schedules, you know, the coaches, I would like to think, would have been able to get in at least one practice with their kids by then, so they'll all know each other. And I know this is a stretch, but I'd really love to have their uniforms for them by then, because it would be great for them to run out and be able to say, and, you know, number 2,
Mm-hmm.
Late Long, you know what I mean?
So,
we got that.
you know, number kids, we just need to vote to take that leap of faith and order the uniforms so that they'll be in time. I mean, you're talking 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you know, you need to have time.
Okay,
You gotta decide the color, like, Lisa could pick the color, if that's not an issue.
what's our margin of error? What's our margin of error? How much roughly are we looking at in those, all those uniforms and hats costing? And
I still think we should.
So unfortunately,
How close are we?
last year, the price was not brought to the committee.
It was
So
just-
it was just done, so I
Okay.
can't even venture a guess. The price that I have been quoted was for not giveaway shirts. They were, you know, guaranteed to last 8 years, so those are,
how much of that
By far.
are interesting?
I think it was $15 a kid. That's for hats, shirts, and socks.
Oh, all three?
Hat, shirt, and socks.
Well, if we said the giveaways are gonna be, let's say for the hats and shirts, we're talking $10.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
And we've got 64.
So you're talking,
64.
we'll say about $650.
Yeah, 650, and we've got, let's say we've got 300 in there. So really, we need one and a bit more sponsors, and we're kind of there.
Yeah, but then we
I mean,
also
we
need
have
to
nothing
put
left.
money in there because we need the infield mix, we need the trophy.
Yeah.
And then the
Other
other
hats.
concern is taking the leap of faith. I need to know what names to put on
Yeah,
those
right.
hats.
Yeah,
What
we-
about just doing hats and not shirts, and using the shirts, and using some of the soccer shirts for this year and
I personally,
better next year?
Well, the difficulty with that is the sponsors we've already got are expecting
Right,
hats and
but the-
shirts.
If we got the, what is the size that we don't have shirts for?
You said softball, right?
well, I think it would actually
Going forward
be
to put the money into the rec uniforms versus just giving away a shirt. I mean, if we could buy the hats every year for baseball. So ongoing baseball would be just hats for sponsorships, not shirts, because we're talking about purchasing new uniforms for everything, right? Not just shirts and hats every year.
Well, next year,
Right.
in the baseball budget, it's already in there, so
Yeah, we already have. it.
that's got nothing to do with this year. That next year,
So I hate to, I hate
Why
to
not put the
purchase
money-
real uniform shirts, because next year we're gonna do the whole big buy. You know what I mean, so.
Yeah, so
if
say
we
we'll
don't-
double
The
it,
only
yeah.
thing I can say is if it's an older kid team, is to give it to the softball, because they didn't even have shirts last year.
so I actually can do a baseball and a softball. I think it would be a younger kid, now I'm not sure if it would be pre-K, kindergarten, or first, second, but, no, it would probably be pre-K and kindergarten.
Well, the big ballers, I think, you have 2 first and second grade teams, you can't buy one t-shirt and not the other.
And I have
So
two
if-
T-ball teams.
Oh, you do? So you either get, I feel that if we don't have enough shirts for the T-ballers, then both T-ball teams get shirts. You know, you can't do one and not the other, it's just not right.
So next year in the budget.
Every year.
I don't think we can do it for one and not everyone.
Uniform.
Yeah.
They come
It's
back.
paid.
They come back to
So
us.
starting next year, there will be no giveaway shirts
Yeah.
or pants or whatever we
Yeah.
order.
It'll just be hats.
It'll be hats and probably socks.
And you really don't think we can use the soccer ones for T-ball?
I know that if they have a soccer ball on them, I for one will not send our children.
No, they have
Other
soccer balls.
teams.
No, I wouldn't, a soccer ball, but, most of them didn't have soccer balls.
Are they Umbro style, like with the checks, or are they plain shirt?
That I can remember.
I only remember the Umbro style or I don't know, we're playing other schools, I don't wanna look like absolute ragamuffins either.
I mean, one,
I'm okay with not buying t-shirts for everybody, I am okay with that. And I'm okay with just doing T-ball and the older kids wearing real uniforms, I'm okay with that too, but,
and generally speaking, I'm okay with it as well. My only worry is what's been promised to the sponsors.
the sponsor sheet says a t-shirt and a hat.
Yeah.
That's what the sponsor sheet
So
says.
that's my worry.
That's what we put up
We
there.
can, all right, I doubt anybody's gonna kick up a fuss, but if they do, we're like, we haven't really got much to stand on. If we promised them that they'd have a t-shirt and a hat, and all they're getting is a hat.
Let me see.
So in reality, that's what they paid for,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
so it should be done theoretically by just.
And then next year it
or
needs to be changed before we go and ask the
Oh,
sponsor.
yeah.
Yeah, because next year it's only hats only, right?
Yeah.
yeah, because
Hats and
we're
socks.
buying new,
You buy new
uniforms.
socks every year. But that's a throwaway thing, you don't want those back.
No.
So
I
it's.
just meant for the sponsorship, that's all.
Yeah, only,
This isn't,
And-
this is the actual.
We're on forward and
That's
keep
not-
promising stuff.
So you're talking hats and shirts that have the names of the company on them? That's even more money, isn't it?
I wouldn't have thought it'd make a lot of difference. If you're gonna have.
This is what it says, your contribution of $275 will allow us to purchase t-shirts and hats
We got it.
with your business name on them and a framed team photo.
We got it.
It's not fair to
Yeah.
promise that to people and then not give it to them, I think. I mean, that's what has been given to the people that have sponsored so far. Unless we take the two that have already sponsored and do the t-shirts for the T-ballers
Yeah.
and with their name on them, and then everybody else gets a hat, but then that's not fair either to the other sponsors that are paying the same rate.
Yeah,
So I just don't think it's fair to deviate, and I think this is why we stopped doing sponsors, because people were sponsoring and then they weren't getting what they were promised, and that's why we weren't doing it anymore.
yeah, I think we gotta live up to what we promised.
I mean, they're paying for it.
Yeah, I think it's-
That's $275. It's gonna cost $650, we guessed, mentioned it guessed,
Yeah,
and 275 times 6 sponsors is how much money? You know what I mean? So they're more than paying for the hats and shirts plus helping our program.
yeah. I would say, we go for it, and then next year it changes anyway, because we've got the new uniforms, and it'll just be hats.
Yeah.
And we can lower the sponsorship then, because we're.
Yeah, we'll lower it.
Yeah, just, we gotta make sure that sheet's corrected definitely by then, so we don't think
Yeah.
it's a problem.
So, I mean, we need to get a motion to move forward and raise a purchase order on that.
So I move that we continue to get sponsors, up to 6 sponsors, and with that money, we purchase hats and shirts for all baseball and softball kids.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favour?
Yeah, I think everybody that, I think it's, you did, it was 3.
So motion passes. So we'll move forward on that basis, and I'll confirm tomorrow morning about 9, so that's
Okay.
one off the list. And then, yeah, we'll just push forward and try to get at least another 2 more, and then hopefully we'll be in a good place at least to get everything else paid for.
Okay.
Anything else on softball?
Lisa, you plan on starting practices next week?
Well, I would like to. I don't know that the field will allow it, and I don't know how many practices we can fit in the gym in like a night. And
No,
like I
that-
was saying earlier, I have phone calls out to all coaches and I've heard back from 2, so I'm waiting to get everybody's day and time so that I can try and arrange a schedule of who's practicing when and times so that we're not overlapping too much.
Yeah, because I think with the senior team, practicing indoors isn't gonna work for the, plan for the senior team.
Right. The seniors and even the softballers,
Right.
but the juniors and T-ballers may want to
No, they
get
could
started.
be fine in that, but.
Especially the kids that have never hit before, they're
My
gonna be
experience.
participating ahead of time the first day.
Or whatever, yeah.
My experience where you, drew me into this, and your father into it, we will be coaching the senior team.
The senior citizens are coaching the senior.
And,
Seniors and seniors.
and they're gonna go get some walkers and chairs for the rescue, and we'll put them in the stand up there so the kids can push wall line around.
Sit in a wheelchair while you pitch to them?
I,
I can see this, you know that, right?
I will give a little plug that the two of them used to coach back in the day, and they always had an undefeated baseball team.
There you go.
So that the bar is set
It's,
high.
yeah.
about 20, we played in 3 years, we did 25 games, we won 22,
Nice record.
so.
So we're excited to
How long
have
ago
their
was that?
expertise.
Oh, geez, that was a long time ago. But with that being said, and Lisa probably wasn't gonna say anything, but I'm going to. They did buy, Lisa and Brian, did buy a pitching machine, which is gonna work out really good for the seniors. And the other thing they bought, I have no idea what you can call it, but it's a machine that throws the ball up, straight up,
Oh, yeah?
so you can hit it. And, we tried it out last weekend, and, Lisa only got hit a few times when she wasn't looking, but other than that, everything worked out pretty good.
Listen, I was just trying to save you from having to bend down too many times.
She was looking out for you.
But it is something that we appreciate as, you know, the rec, that they're, you know, willing to let the older kids use those this year until next year when we purchase our own.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you.
So how this is gonna work is I'm gonna sit out on the pitcher's mound in a chair, and I'm gonna feed the balls in the machine, and Walt's gonna sit up by the batter and tell them what they're doing wrong.
Oh, and that was another thing, the pitching machine, I was thinking of using that for the hit-a-thon, it would be more consistent.
Yeah,
Let the little kids use the tee, but the older kids can get, you know, 5 or whatever, 10 consistent pitches.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we'll have to measure and all of that. Cool.
yeah, good idea. Okay, anything else on baseball we've done?
I think we're done.
No? Okay.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, congratulations on getting so many kids signed up. I mean, it's a good job.
Tickled.
I think it goes to show what happens when we plan things a little further out and we have the skills and drills. It just-
Oh my goodness
It just builds
gracious.
more interest in how.
I would like, I mean, you had a huge turnout for those.
Bigger and bigger every week.
Yeah,
And a lot of people that registered in Sanford this year are like, I can't wait till next year to be on the rec. So I think this baseball program could potentially really.
well, it's something to think about as well with the other sports is, you know, how early can we start, can, I feel like,
Yeah.
to drill and to get, and help build the interest to get more people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, item number 5 on the agenda, the gym update, really short and quick. Not much more to report. I've been waiting for Jen to get me the information from the insurance so that we can make a decision on whether we're even slightly interested in taking that on. Because right now we don't know what work's involved.
So we're still waiting for that list.
Yep, the moment we get that list, I'll bring it to the next meeting and we'll go through it.
And I'm sorry, I was at the selectmen's meeting, but I couldn't hear. Did you bring that up at the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I I wasn't at the last meeting that we had, so are we monthly meetings now?
Yes.
So maybe that is something that if you get it next week, we
Yeah, I
have like
could
an
circulate it.
emergency meeting or
Mhm.
something to talk about it. Just because if they want us to take that over, and we need to give them a decision.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's what I said, I'll remind her about it tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, the tax season has been pretty hectic for us. The moment we know about that, then we can make some decisions and let them know. Number 6 on the agenda, the community centre plan. Obviously, we had the walkthrough, whatever it was, 2 weeks ago now. That building just isn't going to work for what we need. And the current gym, I think even if you knocked that place to the ground and looked at its existing foundation, we're still maybe even struggle with that one.
I suggest,
I think we should still look into that one.
Don't look
The
at that.
gym?
This, not the one across the
Oh, the
street, this
gym.
one, the
Yeah.
gym. And see how much it would cost to actually, like, gut it out, clean it out, get the stuff out of the ceiling
We're
and
using the existing structure.
using the existing structure. The structure, I
So-
mean, if you were to actually get it cleaned out right, I don't think it's that
one of the
bad.
things that was suggested, there was a couple of things suggested, and my recommendation, you know, just even in just coming from my construction world, is that we come up with a couple ideas, you know, let's say 3. Let's say option A is gutting the gym. I mean, if you look, the foundation's cracked. There's a lot of, yes, there's cracks. But go through it. What is it gonna cost to make it a stable, healthy environment?
Versus saying no.
Number 1. Number 2, option 2 could be something that some of the people at the meeting, and I'm not gonna name names, but there was like some people not on this committee that recommended that, you know, that gets bulldozed, it turns into a parking, and that a new building was erected over at the end.
So further down.
Yeah, further down by the end of the building.
Sure.
And option 3 would be what's involved with what Chris would like to do, which is up at the rec field. So we would put together like what the 3 things were, put a bid package together, put it out to some contractors, get some pricing, you know, some budget estimates, and see what the ballpark is, and what do we wanna do? What's it worth? You know, if it is gonna be $100,000 to fix the gym, and $200,000 to build the building twice the size, plus have a better parking lot, the town might wanna weigh it on.
Balance it.
But we need to have options, and then honestly, it needs to go before the town meeting to decide which option is best. But we have to do,
Yeah, we can't just say that.
yeah, so that's what we need to do. We need to come up with what the 3 scenarios are, put together a bid package, put it out there.
I think that's.
We also have to find out, also get time framing too, because we don't wanna wait 5 years for a building to be,
No.
you know what I mean? So we have to throw that in.
I personally think that we could get, what we want, you know, the option A, B, and C put together. I feel like over the course of the warm weather, we could get our 3 prices, and the next time there's a special town meeting for something, have it thrown on there.
And are we thinking, in terms of, I mean, obviously the renovating that one is a lot more obvious about what's involved,
Yeah.
because it's already there, but in terms of producing something new, are we thinking prefabricated structures, or it's
That's
literally
something
just
we need to decide.
bring in?
I suggest
Otherwise,
that we
we're
have
talking plans,
a
architects.
rec committee meeting, a special meeting, specifically to come up with the A, B, and C. Because that's gonna take us a while to put those specs together, and there isn't time in the regular monthly meeting to do that.
That's fair.
That's my suggestion.
I agree.
Yeah. Can I get a
I'll second.
motion to, there we go. All those in favour of scheduling a special meeting for the framework for the, what do we call it, the new community centre? Nice, okay. Any ideas on dates?
Probably the sooner the better, because we've really got our work cut out for us
It's a lot
to
to
get,
design.
even just get started.
Well, do you want to see about, we've got to do it a week out because we've got to give it
Correct.
notice. So, I mean, the earliest we could do it is next Wednesday, I guess.
Well, you guys can't have anything for this town meeting anyway.
No,
Right, but we have to
You
get.
got so much stuff.
it's gonna
going
take
on.
us a while to figure out what we wanna do.
I would just start this after the baseball season was over,
Or after baseball season started,
started, whatever.
some place in between, how about,
Why don't we revisit?
It's a lot of work.
So the problem
You still
is,
gotta get numbers and.
the problem is
Yeah.
much the same for every sport, is there's always gonna be something going on.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, once we kind of baseball started, we always start thinking about the next thing on the list,
Yeah.
which is not summer fair, whatever we call it. the present.
I suggest that,
yeah, like the summer fair, there's 2
I-
weekends before the summer fair and that's it.
Yeah,
yeah,
Does
so
it still
I
have
suggest
time
that
for-
we have a meeting 2 weeks from today, May 1st. Are you working? What about next Wednesday?
What's that?
The
Let's
24th.
go, come on.
Are you always working on Wednesday? The 8th,
8th of May?
yeah. All right, let's pick a different day.
All right, Monday.
I almost always.
How about
have
Monday
Thursdays
Monday the 29th?
off. Monday.
No, that- oh, yeah, that's-
29th. I'm off.
Does that work for everybody? Why is that date in my head?
My head is like,
Oh, I have a warrant finance, we can't do Mondays. They're meeting on, there's a special town meeting, I mean, a public hearing on the 22nd, and then warrant finance the 29th and the 6th. The next 3 Mondays, this room is booked. So we've either got to, and Tuesdays aren't good because of this room is used. So we gotta look at,
I almost always have Thursdays off.
a Thursday. we can
Of
do.
course, Thursday.
I mean, we have Girl Scouts, but
And I have
we can,
my
meet at 7, the
softball.
rec will meet at 7.
So we
Then
are
we go late
on
night.
the 25th?
Thursday the 25th. Either that or we can, it's up to you, Laura. I mean, we can redo, I mean, we can try to do something different for Girl Scouts that week. We could cancel Girl Scouts that week,
I don't know, we can have some Girl Scouts, I guess. So it's something like that.
or we can meet at 7. Those are the choices.
No, I don't mean it's makes no difference to me.
Seven
I have no life
probably would be
anyway.
best for me, because I have 2 softball
when
practices.
were we
that
looking,
day.
I'm sorry?
25th. April.
25th at 7?
April 25th?
Yeah,
And next
I'm looking
Thursday.
at May. Yeah, I can do that too.
at 7?
Let me make sure what it ended up being.
I know 7's a little late. And let's just promise to, I
We're
we
gonna
don't
be
like to
discussing
do
this.
this, but let's promise to, be out of here at a certain time where it's a special meeting.
And we're literally only talking about that.
Yeah, the only thing on the agenda is that one thing.
Yeah, and we won't, let's try to limit the meeting to an hour, just out of fairness, because we're all so busy right now.
We could lay out right now what we want to do in that meeting. We can just come up with our 3 options, We have option A, option B, a building here. We can come up with the dimensions, what we want to have in it.
That's what we'll decide at the meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
That
option
should
C,
really only
what
be-
would be involved with doing something up at the field, on the gap.
Now,
Okay, gap
still
field.
gonna have water.
Well, that's what we should
heating,
talk about at this meeting.
Because, I mean, you can throw up a steel building if you're just using it as.
You have to have a bathroom,
Yeah, you have to.
that's,
No, we'd have to have a bathroom, yeah. And probably ideally you'd want to change in facilities.
yeah.
You talk about septic system, water,
Does
that's
that one
what
have
it's going to
septic,
be so
um,
much.
This, the gym that's here now, the one that's
Yeah.
in use, it has.
It has a bathroom.
There's
water.
electric, there's a
It's heated.
septic system already.
It's just not nearly big enough to
Electrical.
really meet anything that we want to do with it, unless,
It's a compromise
It
essentially.
would-
We're having a compromise.
we gotta just talk about
A lot of
it, come up with the
different
3 things, and then what we want to do with each one, and put it out to bid.
No, I mean,
And then let the
it
townspeople decide.
goes that way, that is owned on that building, correct?
Yep.
So if we put a culvert in and just extended it more to the road, if Kenny allowed it, just expanded the building to make it
Mhm.
larger, and had a culvert put in down further away, you could have parking behind the building so it doesn't disturb anybody else.
Well, the church owns it.
The church owns behind that building?
Yeah, the church owns this parking here,
Yeah.
they own,
It like wraps around.
yeah, the church owns all that.
But they don't own it from them, right? Or they do?
From that building to 109, the town owns.
Right.
But all behind that, where the tree line is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's where the church land starts.
So pretty much behind this building is where the church
That's.
So if you set the building double size this way, if we just put an addition on it and clean it out to make it, you know, would be better situation for everybody. And then we went to the tree line, before the tree line, there'd be quite a bit of parking.
I wonder what Kenny would do available.
If you want, I'll meet with Kenny over that building and find out exactly what
How
the
big
needs
you can
are.
make it.
No, this one here, I know what I feel about the building. I know the foundation isn't good. And what most people in the construction world would tell you, with an old structure like that, it's cheaper to put up new than it is to fix what's existing. But that's my opinion. But if you want, I'll meet with Kenny, and Kenny and I'll go through the building, because, I mean, he knows a lot more about it than I do.
Well, now that
And
you're
I know
about-
Kenny would be available maybe to be at the meeting so we can kind of float things by him, so we're saving time and hands to go and refer to.
The only other thing is that I could probably get the chair from the planning board to come to that meeting as well, other than
That would
that
be really
they meet
helpful.
on Thursday nights, so they won't be able to come on a
But
Thursday.
the trouble is,
Is it every Thursday? Is that a Thursday, or is it,
every other Thursday.
and so, is it the first and third?
Yes.
Oh, so they're not meeting on the 25th, so we could ask, we could put the
I'm
request.
just saying, I'm not saying Kenny won't do it, but in fairness to Kenny, he lives in Wakefield.
Yeah, it's a drive.
And he's done here at 4. That means he'd have to come back.
Gotcha.
Let's say, if you don't want me to, that's fine too, but if you want me to talk to him and kind of report back to you or whatever, it's up to you guys.
I can go with you when you,
Sure, man.
It would be nice to know what we would need to do, what would be required,
yeah.
you know, safe, health, what do they call it, life safety.
Yeah.
You know, is the foundation sufficient, or would it need to be repaired, you know? What, we don't know that, you know, let Kenny tell us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, regardless, I mean, as I said, we don't feel that it's probably, we would be able to extend on to it.
Right.
Because we don't think it's
find
going
out
to be big
those
enough as
things.
it is.
And so maybe the best thing is to come up with a list of questions in our meeting on that Thursday, and then have Lisa go to the 25th
Thank you.
Yeah.
at 7.
Okay.
And then Lisa and Dennis can, and if you wanted to go, could go and walk through the building with Kenny.
Sure. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's get to the questions during our meeting for the basic plans, but all the options at least, and then we can work on getting prices for that and then present them.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Okay, item number 7 on the agenda, summer fair update. Okay, no longer to be called the summer fair, because apparently that is taken and we need to differentiate it somewhat. So, the first thing is, I mean, I just floated by the idea of Acton Pride Carnival. Up to you guys, I guess, to vote on. We have to come up with something other than the summer fair, because otherwise people are just going to get confused.
Yeah.
So the problem with the word fair is they're concerned that we're gonna have Ferris wheels and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I think carnival might be the same thing.
We used to have Acton Pride Day.
Now, who do we contact about that? Like, can we just take that over, or is there some toes that we might step on by using that term?
Hey.
Just go, it would be Acton Pride Day.
Okay, and maybe we know who runs that, maybe we could just
Yep,
get together on that.
yep, I will speak to her.
So what do we suggest, Acton?
So the Acton Pride Day is
Mhm.
something that we used to have
Okay.
every year, and that's something that we could call this
Sure.
fair. And the person who runs Acton in Motion,
Acton in Motion did it before her time.
we might be able to get together with them and do it
She runs.
Sure.
as a joint
Well,
effort.
it'd be nice to get extra hands involved, for
Yeah.
sure, because it's a big undertaking, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I understand your thoughts on the carnival thing, that, yeah, they're concerned there's going to be big rides and all that
Yeah.
kind of thing, which obviously we're not having. But, no, I think Acton Pride Day is fine as well.
Yeah. It sounds more like we're trying to do.
Now,
Yeah, that would be.
It's actually, what they used to do on steroids, is what we're
Yeah.
saying.
Okay.
so as far as this goes, we're trying to get vendors to come, correct?
Yes, we got vendor tables, craft tables that we're looking to do. Ideally,
I could be in charge of the vendor.
what I'd like to be able to do, I think, is have businesses sponsor a particular ride, for example, like a bounce house, so that they can have, if you like, their advertisement outside that particular ride. You know, proudly sponsored by X for the whole day.
And then do they get a table there?
Yeah, they can put their brochures and stuff.
So
like
there's
that.
a lot of small businesses, MLMs and stuff like that, that like to get, like if you think about Apple Fest, who has tables at Apple
Yeah.
Fest? Those things are $50 a pop, you know, at Apple Fest.
That's-
Yeah. So we're kind of targeting that group and the big businesses that will sponsor RAC, so it's almost two different things.
Yes.
I just heard Lori mumble, and I'm gonna speak up, that she wouldn't mind at all to be in charge of recruiting the I want a table to sell my
Cool.
candles type
Excellent.
vendors, right? So Lori, we will call those vendors, vendor tables, Lori in charge.
So we'll have one price for a vendor table and then another price to
To
sponsor.
sponsor a ride, like,
$30 for a vendor table, I think 50 sometimes is a bit.
I think we discussed before 20.
well, I think 20 is too low, I think 50 is a lot.
Anywhere between.
What do you think about 30?
So for a table, we'll say 30.
Alright.
And then how much do we want to say to sponsor the big?
Well, is it on the per
Depends on
ride
how much
basis?
it costs. I think we need to get prices as to how much it's
Yeah.
gonna be and say, will you sponsor for X amount of dollar a bouncy house?
Yeah, I
X
think
amount of
that-
dollar for a
I
water
looked at the price that
slide.
you sent me. I think it was about $300 for the bounce houses and a little bit more for the.
The water slides are.
The slides can go,
Yeah, if you're
Yeah,
crazy.
I think we need to get prices for them and then ask businesses, and we have X, Y, and Z for, in.
Then you just take it off the
It's
chart.
$200 for this, do you wanna sponsor it? $300
Or
for
if
this,
it's an
do you wanna
expensive,
sponsor it?
if it's an expensive item, we could get
You
like
could get
2 people.
Yeah,
And they can put their tables either side of it, proudly sponsored by X and Y, they've got their information out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
yeah, so we need to come up with a list of what we're gonna have for sponsors for those and,
so we need to, for vendor tables, I don't know, John, if you would be okay, because I know Carrie does some great graphic design stuff. If you'd be okay, making a flyer
For the,
for the vendor table
table.
with a form that they can return, and Lori, are you okay with your mailing address going on the form? Or do you want it returned to the town hall?
no, that's fine. So, and your email as well as a contact?
I would rather a phone number, a text as a contact than an email, if that would be possible.
Yeah, I think you do whatever you
I
want.
would rather phone and text.
She has email issues.
okay, so we're gonna create a form for the vendor tables, I'm gonna say $30.
$30. We would need what their business is, and, you know, their information. There needs, if you look back through the archives of the Apple Fest vendor form, not to mooch off Terry, but there's a blurb on there about it needing to be appropriate, family appropriate.
Oh, yeah, no,
If you could just put
bikes
something,
and no.
yeah, we don't want
Yeah.
any, you know,
Or anything like
nothing
that.
like that, or anything worse than that.
Paraphernalia or.
Yeah, so if, I have things going in my head. So, we gotta make sure it's appropriate. Family friendly.
Family friendly, yeah.
Family friendly vendors only.
Yeah.
So, I guess the tables are a little bit this kind of size.
That's another thing.
How many?
So, there are 2 schools of thought on that. It could be bring your own table and you're allowed X size.
Yeah, space, that's what they, most vendors bring their own stuff, so you
Yeah,
can do a
okay.
space like.
Yeah, 'cause we don't have any.
What
10 by
we used
10.
to do, 10 by 10
It's a
was.
standard, like easy.
That's
Yeah,
the-
because
that's
it's
the standard.
easy.
So 10 by 10 or smaller.
Yeah.
And if they want more than that, then you can either do 10 by 10 or 12 by 12, because some easier, that gives them a little more space.
You could say 12 by 12,
12 by-
so that they're not right on top of each
Yeah.
other. And if they have, you know, we could
Yeah.
stake off 12 by 12 squares.
Yes.
However, we're gonna
I
have
think
them
12
like
by
that.
12 would be a little bit
Yeah, I think you're right.
better.
Because I had a 12 by 12 EDM by the time.
Share,
And like
that way, and they can walk around and
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
a lot of the, depending on the vendors that we used to deal with, I mean, 12 by 12 is a good fit, 10 by 10.
And once it gets a little bit dry over the field, we'll get out there with a soft tape measure and mark it all out and see what we can fit with. But I'm initially thinking something like that, the right-hand side, almost like that whole side could be used for
Vendors.
vendors. Because it keeps me out of the way then, keeps the foot traffic out of the way of anything else that we've got going on in other places.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you don't want those two things.
Yeah, because we're going to be having things like search a truck and vehicles moving in and out, we've got to try to keep the people
Yeah.
away from those vehicles.
And then the best way to do it, the vendors, is when they're allowed to, they have to get there earlier
Yeah.
than it starts, obviously. But they also they can't leave the vehicle, you have to let them know that you have to come in, unload, leave.
Yep,
You-
and that's the other thing that we have to work out. is the-
Because a lot of people will park it and think they can just stay right
Sure.
where they leave it.
Yes.
And they're gonna take up way too much parking that way.
I used to do a lot of vending stuff, so.
Too much of it.
Yeah, we've got to
We talked about, contacting one of the.
across the lots across the way, right, is.
And, asking them to let us have some parking over there. And if that was the case, we would just have to put out a lot of like cones and this and flags and, people are crossing.
Who do we, talk to about finding out who owns that property over there? 'Cause, I mean,
Jen, would you tell us?
Yeah, but you can pull it up on the interactive map, just find out where the field is and just put who owns it across the street.
Because isn't there a sand pit near there? Or the airfield, how far is the airfield
That's pretty
away?
far.
It's too far to walk?
It's too far to walk.
Oh,
I mean, I probably could find your own thing right now,
That's
in about
nice.
5 minutes.
Yeah, that's gonna be our major concern is parking.
So if we can't make that happen, then we are going to have to add something.
Yeah, figure something.
Yeah, we're gonna have to probably.
Because we could
because it's
potentially
way too
use that,
small.
that old store down the road, they might let us use their parking lot. The sand pit down the road might let us use their parking lot,
And then just offer some sort of a shuttle.
something.
I mean, that's still under realty contract, I think, so that
Now,
would be easier to hold up.
Do vendors
Anderson
have to
still
have
own it now.
insurance? We need to find out if vendors need to have insurance.
For what?
This is supposed to.
There's, most vendors, in most places make vendors have.
You're not required to have
insurance.
it for Apple Fest, I know that, because I bought a table at Apple Fest before and they didn't ask me about insurance.
Really?
I don't have it, I didn't have insurance, I mean, a lot of those smaller, like Ascensi distributors, you don't have
Some of them
insurance.
do and some of them don't, it really depends, like, you can't walk into the Acton Fair
I'm sure, yeah.
without a huge insurance
Yeah,
policy.
$1 policy.
Yeah, it has to be $1 million policy.
But that's kind of, I mean, how much does it cost to have a thing at the fair, a couple $100? You know what I mean, like, I think it's another level of a vendor.
I think it was 150 or something. I can't tell you exactly, I don't know.
I mean,
Well,
what you're gonna be looking at is a lot of people that sell Sensi, and they sell
Well,
this, and they sell
I mean,
that, and it's somebody.
Jen has the sense that we've got here. And I've asked her to.
Check with Jen about
insurance.
insurance.
Yeah, she's already got all that, so I've asked her to
Okay.
check with the insurance what's going to be required. Yeah, and if they have a problem with anything. So they should come back and give us a full breakdown. If they need insurance for vendors, then on.
That would separate vendors by having insurance versus.
That would almost eliminate most of them.
That might, yeah.
Okay, what else do we have down here? In terms of the stalls, like the actual things to do, like the hook it up, dunk tank, that kind of stuff. These are, I didn't come up with these things are actually just on the internet. You're hooking it up.
Nothing I've ever heard around here.
This is, I got all the insights.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Look at that, that's good.
I didn't figure it out.
Now I don't know what it's called, because we
I've never
said,
heard of it.
hook the duck, and now I can't remember what the real name is.
You said that a while, so we can.
So, we can buy, the prizes for next to nothing.
Oriental Trading, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they do like a a giant selection thing, there's a 250, oh, this is the one. $168 gets you 1,000 pieces.
That's awesome.
And literally that can be divided up across all the different stands. And my thought was, I don't know if it's going to be, if it was free, the difficulty is you're just going to get kids just constantly,
Right.
price, and you'd be cleared out in minutes.
I think it
I
should
would
be free to get in.
I
but
would
the
be
games
free to
should
get in, I think the games should, even if they cost 50 cents.
And that's exactly what I had. Because at 50 cents we actually
We
took
could
it.
actually sell game tickets.
Yeah.
We could have a ticket booth,
Yeah.
where you sell the tickets, you know, and we could come up with, you know, a fairly inexpensive thing, but it would cost the price of.
Yeah, exactly. And at 50 cents, we're covering the price of every prize that goes out the door. So it doesn't matter if they play 1,000 times, we're still, we're not really making money, but, you know, at least we're not losing money, it's a great day out for everybody.
Yeah,
So,
Oh, we're supposed to be making some money to pay for the difference too, right?
yeah.
well, I think, in all honesty, I think the money we're gonna make on this is gonna be on the concessions. Because you're just gonna sell a crap ton of drinks and a crap ton of
Yeah.
food.
And
Yeah,
we
yeah.
gotta make some money on your vendor tables.
Yes.
If we don't, yeah, the vendor tables are pure income, it's not costing us anything to have them there.
100% it's just
If
best.
you get, you know, 10 is $300.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm sure we'll have a lot more mechanics. And the good thing is that we'll have our new concession equipment, right? So we'll be able to have the barbecue grill going.
What's
and
the date for this?
20th of July.
What is it?
When you
July
make up the
20th.
vendor thing, make sure you let them know there's no electricity because
Yes.
then, unless you want to get bombarded with that same question over and over and over. Because a lot of people do use electricity.
No water, no electricity.
Yeah.
Well, unless we
Oh,
jump right on our water.
yeah, that's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna
Um,
Why not?
well, we could do it at capital improvement.
No, I'm not saying at the tables, but I don't see why you couldn't, set up whoever's gonna do it, providing this passes the town meeting, can you start this July 1st?
I mean, essentially, there's no reason why it couldn't be.
And you have water there for at least people to drink.
I mean, it's in the budget for doing, so why not do it on the 1st of July, really?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's the way I always work.
And that way we won't
Down to
run-
school.
that way we won't run into the same problems like we did with the lighting,
Yeah.
and electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm no problem doing that. As long as it's, you know, it's gonna be done and cleared up by the time we're here.
Yeah.
That would be my own thing, but
Oh, well,
I've never had a water
that's a
break, I don't know
day.
how long it takes.
That's like a day.
It's a day.
Oh, right,
I
okay.
don't know if they approved that, right?
It's on
Town
the
meeting.
town meeting, is going to vote on it. I've heard nothing but positive feedback though from the public about it when I've talked to people. I don't think it's gonna be a problem, because it's not raising taxes, it's money that's already there that we're just asking to spend out of our capital improvement.
Oh, the well, yeah, I mean, the budget is a different thing.
Yeah, but the well, it's money that, we already have a capital improvement fund, the money's already sitting in
In
there.
fact, I think
Which
the
is
improvement fund is
spent.
the largest, I think, isn't it?
It's a good size.
Yeah.
We're getting better.
So, with the vendor table, pamphlet, can you make one for the sponsor, like the bigger sponsors too?
Sure.
Obviously not until you get an idea of what we're gonna be spending, but just,
Well, I'll jump on
We
that
need
tomorrow.
to
look
figure out
at
the amounts for that, like how, like, I'm wondering if we should just do a flat, like,
somewhere in between.
two different levels, 100 and 250, or
Well, there's-
100 and...
There's really only two big things that I have planned on there, which is the bounce house and the bounce house slip and slide. So I mean, we could kind of look at both of those and put it together and just say, look, we need 4 sponsors and you'll all be proud sponsors of these things.
Yeah,
And just divide it up so it's more reasonable for
Yeah.
each one.
yeah, and I think that's a good idea.
You don't have a water slide, you know?
Yeah,
We are, if we have water put in,
yeah.
does it need us?
Oh, yeah.
We go roll on it?
Yeah, you have.
Barrel.
You could, I think you could actually do, even if you didn't have the water and you'd be able to do it with a reservoir, because they could just, because it recycles the water out.
Where?
When it gets down to the bottom.
Not any of the ones I've ever
Isn't
had.
it? There's always-
She runs the big ones for Blake's Party, and they always have to
I
have
don't
a
think that's
special.
answer. Little kids being stuff. So, I don't think that'd be very sanitary.
For what?
Little kids get to recycle.
I don't care if they hit it, it's the truth. They
It
do it.
is true, Brian. It's not sanitary, John.
That might be a health issue, right?
So essentially, we,
The water's still
But it's flat, no, you're getting, oh. Have you ever seen the video of me coming down one of those? A lot of water. See that?
Starts up at the top and it just runs out the bottom. And you see, you
There's
know,
no pool at the bottom.
traveling the whole way with the.
Okay, so we gotta get water done, so we have to have that in place. Right, okay, so that's a priority. I was thinking for the stalls, do you think we'd be able to get each town department involved, so each town department had a stall? So they actually take over ownership. The library would do the hooker duck hill, and then
I'm never going to get with that name.
I don't know, the rec department take on doing the dome tank, just to break it up so that we've actually got, so we're gonna have to get
I
some.
think the rec department's gonna be pretty busy, just
Well,
running
yeah.
around with everything versus taking over.
I don't think that we should take a station.
No, I don't
The rec
either.
department, I really don't. Only because I think
There's
each and every, if it's as big as what we wanna
Yeah.
do, each and every one of us is gonna be very busy
Sure.
out there.
Yeah,
Well, do you think we'd be able to get the other departments involved? Would they be willing to take
I
over?
would definitely ask, I mean, the library is always looking to get out there, you know,
I mean, essentially, I've only got down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things,
Yeah,
and 2 of them are pretty much like raffles, so there's not much else. You know, it's candy and jam, I guess how many pieces of candy and jam, there's literally nothing you have to do to sign up for it, other than get a jar and some candy.
yeah. Yes, I think that we definitely should reach out to the other departments, especially the fire department, the PTG, which isn't necessarily a department of the town, but,
And they're probably not meeting that time, so they may not.
yeah, so we've gotta see, because that's something they have to plan ahead for. And.
What about businesses, the big businesses to do a station?
Some of them might, yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
Acton Trader Post, Onion Tails, Willie's,
Sure.
Chaplin, I don't know if that's Chaplin, the corner store.
And I know, I'm sure that the board of selectmen will all three be there and would love to, you know, run something, you know, I'm sure that.
I mean, there's not a huge amount of that we need to run. I mean, we'll be, I think most of our time we're going to be with the concessions and making sure that people, you know, at their weather should be at a certain time and organising the tug of war or whatever the hell's going on. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's
The
what
one you
check
picked
what
is like
the-
the worst one out of all of them.
The fireman's muster thing, did we ever look into that?
Oh Lord, the fireman's muster.
I don't know what a founder's muster is, so I just wrote it down.
So they lay out, oh gosh, I did it a few years. I can't
You have to like run with the hose on with the gear on?
Yeah, you have to
Is it
get-
or is it?
Yeah, from point A to point B.
Usually what they do is they have a group of firemen
Alright.
and they go against a group of not firemen.
Alright, okay, cool, sounds fun.
And,
They used to do it at the Pride Day.
yeah, I remember I won it one year.
Or they could do it, even if the fireman didn't want to do it, they could do it with,
I think it was hooked up to the truck and then, so what you do is you go get your hoses, you lay out however many sections, hook them all up and then turn the water on.
And whoever gets the water coming out the end of the hose, and everybody I think had to be helping hold the hose.
Oh
on.
yeah, you have to hold on to
It was a
those.
team.
Oh, yes.
And whoever was spraying water out of their hose first won.
It sounds good.
Basically, it was a lot of fun.
do you
And so
set them
we-
up by
I used to do that every year
teams?
at Pride Day,
You
too.
sign up, like, I think that day,
Oh,
you
that
have a
day,
sign-up
yeah.
sheet for it,
Yeah.
and they do a couple teams, you know, depending on how many.
Well, we're gonna have to get signed up early for things like the tug of war anyway, because if.
I would love to talk, I'll talk to the fire chief about it.
Okay.
And even if you didn't have enough firemen to come to do it, you could have like just different teams. It doesn't even have to be, you know, as long as they bring their equipment, if they have a couple of people there, you could still do it even if you didn't have all the
Well, if
firemen.
you're speaking to the crowd, you mentioned the toucher truck to them as well,
I will.
because I know that's always popular with the kids.
And I'll also,
For that stuff. They're always at,
Well, it's good prep.
trunk or treat,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll also ask our sheriff.
Yeah, great.
Oh, yeah. And then we also have, someone in town who is, I don't know if he's a sheriff or a state police officer, but he has,
Oh, you know, I got some prices.
he has canines. Maybe he could come and do a little
Do a candy
sleigh
slide.
thing.
Yeah, sometimes you do that where you have like, at 2 o'clock, there's gonna be a demonstration of this.
Yeah,
At
nice.
3 o'clock, there's gonna be a demonstration of this. That would be really cool. Who are you talking about, canines? You got somebody to check with?
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but I know his son's name.
Well, I know if if it was, I don't know about, in terms of police canines, but if you were looking for like a dog obedience thing, you should speak to Sue Walsh. Because I know she does obedience, but particularly the competitive obedience. She'd probably have to get a team or recommend somebody.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea too.
She tried to train.
Who's gonna speak to
No.
Sue?
She tried to keep it honest.
They're too stubborn. No, I'll speak to Sue if you want.
Okay. John Rose Speak. I'm trying to make sure I get everything that everybody says they're doing in the minutes.
This is 1,000 pieces, and it's all sorts of crap you don't want.
Just like the fair.
Yeah, little bean bags, balls. I also thought you could, I mean, if that wasn't enough on the spending, because these are dirt cheap, the punch bowl things, and kids love those.
Yeah.
So, if you could literally like just put together a package of that and that, and you've got your set.
Yeah.
For virtually, and these come in at, about, is it 250 pieces for $54?
Yeah.
They go back, or even like bouncy balls, they're even cheap. Some of those, I don't know, something was just dirt cheap. Yeah. We can use, they think they're a big sticker pack as well, for tattoos,
Yeah,
which are the next kind of thing.
yeah, we love stuff like that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think we can definitely make it pay, or, certainly, at least on the prizes, break even, because it's a pretty great day. We're beginning at
I'm really excited about building a ticket booth.
We
I'm
could
really
make
excited about
a
that.
ticket booth out of one of our dugouts too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We could use those dugouts for something.
On that?
couldn't it?
absolutely,
definitely do it.
absolutely. I think it will make a lot of money on a 50/50 raffle.
Oh, and that was something else that I had thought about doing, every home game for baseball, doing a 50/50 raffle.
Yeah, it's always
What
good.
do you have?
I'd written down some prices on those bounce houses, I missed it before. The slip and slide were coming in anywhere between $350 and $400, and just the regular bounce houses were between $150 and $195. So, six.
How big are those water slides?
Oh.
Silver slide? That's not the giant ones, those are the smaller ones.
No, the giant one is quite expensive.
Yeah. Like double, three times?
The biggest one that the place that I use, the biggest one they have is ridiculously tall, and it's a slide that goes down into a slip and slide.
Yep.
I think it's like, Dennis, do you remember how tall the tallest slide was that we had? Am I out of my mind by saying 18 feet tall?
At the house?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
It was like 18 feet
No,
tall,
no.
and then it ends up being like 45 feet long,
This one was 18 feet tall.
and
Yeah.
it's like $650 for the day. Because it's a slide that goes into a slip and slide.
Yeah, that's what, well, this was, I don't know. I'm sure it was the same place I was looking.
And the thing about that is,
Because I got it from you, I didn't know where to look at.
yeah, oh, you got the website?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be that you might have mixed a price
Yeah,
with a different
sure.
one or something.
But anyway, we're gonna be, somewhere between 500 and $1,000 for those two, so
Yes.
we definitely need sponsors for them.
Yes,
I think kids absolutely love it.
Oh, they were crazy, yeah, they're gonna be on all that.
And
Oh, yeah.
we'll have to have somebody at each ride, at least somebody at each one of those, because you're only allowed so many kids in a bounce house at a time, only usually like 1 or 2 riders on a slide at a time.
even the two, was it a 2 or 3 lane one we had that time? You don't want anybody at the top waiting.
Yeah, you
You know
just
what I
want
mean?
around and around.
Because it's not safe,
Sure.
because they get impatient. And you really want the one at the bottom out of the way.
It takes a minute to get out, I mean,
And
to
we're
get
gonna-
your bearings once you're
We're
down
gonna
there.
sort of say again, everything is just 50 cents, yeah, it's 50 cents to do the ride. I mean, is it
Yes.
per slide, or do they get like 5 minutes going around, or what?
Well, with the bouncy house, it would be a time frame, whether it be, 2 minutes or, it depends on how many kids are there. 5 minutes could be a long time to wait if
Yeah.
you got a couple of groups ahead of you.
Sure.
And then the slide, I would just say ticket. a time, because it takes a while to climb up that ladder,
Yeah.
come down, get your bearings and get out of the way.
Okay.
It does take some time, and
So we'll have to make sure that it's pretty clear that they'll need a bathing suit.
yes.
And should we have something else that involves water so that they're not just using their bathing suit for that one thing?
Well, we have our water system, I mean, we could have a free, one of those crazy sprinklers that you can run in, or, something like that over in the water area.
I wouldn't necessarily do a sprinkler, that's a lot of drain on them. If we have water, that's gonna be a lot of drain on a well,
Yeah,
all day long.
Yeah, and you
And,
get
yeah.
in 2 hours, full force water.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't do,
And
but you could do like,
Cycle again.
you could just buy a couple of the big pools so the kids could splash around. You know,
especially
like
the kids,
plastic, the plastic
little
pools,
kids that
little
won't be
kids.
using the slide.
Yeah, so like some just
Yep. No, no,
collapsible pools and, not the little teeny tiny ones, but one that's, big
Worst-
enough that, 4, 5, 6 kids could go in.
Worst case scenario, what happens if there's a giant thunderstorm?
We'll have to have a rain gate.
There will be a rain date, there will have to be.
How the heck do we do that?
Because there's nobody that's gonna go to one of those in a giant thunderstorm. It would just be a complete loss.
Sure.
And you can't even have,
Problem is,
Your bounce house.
No, there won't let that in there.
So is this a Saturday?
Saturday?
Maybe the rain date be Sunday and hope it's not a whole weekend affair, or do it the following Saturday as the rain date. I mean,
I would do it the day
But if
after.
you
I think
rented
the day
those,
after.
if you're renting those,
They won't even let them out if it's raining.
so if you
Yeah.
rent
It was
those,
thundering.
I can't remember, some places you get it for really both days, but some places it's per day.
I would just do it for the following day because you don't wanna try to encourage it and see if you can get it as in, you get both days, gives you more time to bring it back also, bring it down. And in worst case scenario, you do it
yeah,
instead of
but you kind of
Saturday.
have to have that thing up. Do they set those up?
they set them up
They
and
set
take them
them up.
down, yeah.
But the thing is if it's only one day, it'd probably be cheaper in the long run probably, because you probably need the company.
Sure. They probably allow you to rain day.
Yeah, and what about like a dunk tank and that stuff? Are we renting those too?
I didn't know really that we had one.
I will ask the fire department about that too, because
If we don't have one,
No.
it's probably not cost effective to rent one. But we can, instead of doing a dunk tank, we could probably just build like a stocks and just have kids throw like sponges instead of trying to get them into. I mean, dunk tank would be a hell of a lot more fun.
oh, absolutely.
Particularly if we can get the teachers involved to be in there for periods of time.
Well, like pining.
I was gonna say we could do like
Pining things
Yeah.
or throw something at their faces, they got the heads.
Yeah. I mean, I know that place that you recommended me, they actually do the dunk tanks.
Oh, they rent them too?
Yeah, I think they were about $250, if I remember right.
But the other thing to do would be to see if they would give us some sort of a deal,
Bundle.
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna tell you this and this, they had a whole section on just carpet stuff, like all this
Oh,
stands
yeah,
and
they
stalls and
literally
everything.
rent
They
everything.
could actually do the whole thing for us, and we do nothing.
Sharper Image or Sharp Image, something.
Where are they at?
Kenny Bunk,
I want to say somewhere in New Hampshire, but I don't know.
that could be too.
Yeah.
There's a few of them that we've used. It was Sharp Image or something like that.
Okay,
Okay.
so we'll try to get the other departments involved to do a stall, because it's really not gonna take a lot, but they're gonna need to build them as well, because, they're gonna have to get involved in kind of thinking about that. I mean, the hooky duck is easy, I paddle and pull in some ducks, but it's not a fun thing.
In a stall.
I think we should have Brian manning the hooky duck, because he seems to enjoy the name quite so much.
We need to get a t-shirt.
Never heard of something.
Hook a duck, hook a duck,
I'm going to
hook a
be
duck.
I know that.
Hooky duck this way, follow me. Okay.
Another one you were saying something.
Well, that's the coconut.
He was calling it a fete in the beginning.
Thanks.
A fete.
That was too always bigger.
All right, let's go.
Alright, okay, Code of ethics, Karen, you had a draft.
Yes, so I was asked to draft this up. I spent a considerable amount of time researching this with other, recs and Special Olympics and, you know, different school athletic teams, whatever. And this, I basically, like, picked out the things that I thought kind of applied to us. And so I see typos, sorry. That's gonna need to be fixed, but that's what happens when you copy and paste too much.
In the brief reading I made of it.
Oh, first aid kit, not first kit.
Oh,
Oh, well done.
yeah, I actually found it.
You did, good job, and I noticed the number 3 that was
I
inside.
noticed the 3, but I didn't pick up on that.
This was literally like,
Report any and all injuries, no matter how minor, so if someone gets.
anytime you have to put an ice pack on a kid or something like that, you should really document that. I did not
Because-
enforce that during basketball, and I should have.
Anytime we give a kid an ice pack, I can speak from experience. My son was at my daughter's birthday party and he came off the trampoline and said, "Mom, my leg hurts." And I said, "Well, I'm not carrying you, suck it up." And didn't walk up those stairs and he had a broken leg. So anytime we give a kid an ice pack, it could be something's broken, it
How
could be a
often is you
concussion.
reminded of that?
Luckily, he doesn't remember that.
Give me what I need to remember.
But yeah,
Yeah.
and every Band-Aid could result in an infection. I mean, we gotta cover our own rear ends too.
Then we ought to have something.
There is a form,
I
it was
have,
in the
yeah, I
basketball
gave
binder, and I
you,
gave them to her.
remember I said it was back here.
Oh, but hopefully, yes.
Hopefully we wouldn't have to use it, but they're there.
Yeah, we got those.
Okay. Is there anything on
I
here
think it's awesome.
that you object to? Is there anything you want added? I tried to cover everything.
I think it's short enough and kind of loose enough for everybody to say, oh yeah, I don't mind signing that.
Yeah,
Without them thinking they're signing their life away to some big contract.
it's basically just set a good example for the kids.
Well, the only other thing that I was thinking was, will coaches be offended by being handed this to sign also?
In my personal opinion, no. And if they are, maybe they're not the type of people we want coaching for us. Because it's not like we're asking them to not have opinions or not.
Yeah, we're not trying to tell them how
Yeah,
to
we're
do
just
their
saying,
job.
hey, listen, you know,
Well,
this is what we want from our coaches.
but some of it should
Can you
be
come
common
to
sense too.
Right, so why would anyone take offense to signing that if it's just common sense?
And though you think it's common sense, there are probably 3 or 4 things on here that arose during
Oh, yes.
basketball that were an issue, you know? And I'm sure every other season. So even though it sounds like common sense, it needs to be said.
The only thing I may have added, and maybe it can be added to, I will do my best to organise practices that fund challenges. It's kind of in the subtext of that, but just being prepared for those practices. You know, kind of not just turn up and saying, right, what are we going to do today? You know, having an idea of what it's going to be. But other than that, I mean, it's great.
So are we going to vote on this tonight with that change, or are we, because I'd like to use it for baseball.
Sure, I mean, I'm happy to vote on it tonight, or unless you want,
So I would make a motion that we accept this coach's code of ethics with the amendment that John recommended and start using it as soon as the baseball season.
do you have a second for that?
I'll second.
All those in favour? It passes.
So we need to post that.
Okay, very quickly moving on to the ice rink, which I think is just really about dismantling. I was actually going to go up there probably Saturday afternoon and just start pulling that apart.
Where are we gonna put that?
My thought, it doesn't take up a lot of space, so I was thinking we'll put it actually in the shed there for the time being. I think if it starts becoming an issue, we can rethink, but I think you could just go right up in the back corner and kind of stack up and.
Is there anything that is chewable?
It's all made of polypropylene, except for the liner, which is kind of, all it's going to be used for next year anyway is a base.
Okay,
Because we've got to buy a new liner now because we're extending.
Okay.
So, I don't think anything can really be damaged.
okay.
Should be fine.
And what about those hay bales?
The thought with the hay bale is, because the kids are basically, all the kids,
Yeah.
because we were just jumping all over them, it cut all the strings. They can't really be stored anywhere. I was just going to drag them into the woods and let the deer take them.
Oh, yeah, they're absolutely
Destroyed.
compostable.
Yeah. So I was just going to drag them into the woods, distribute them out there and let the deer and the animals distribute them as they want.
You're not gonna just leave them in bales in the woods, are you?
No,
Well, the
the
strings
strings are pretty much gone anyway. So,
They're gonna get all moldy and stuff if they're left in bales.
yeah, no, I'll cut if the string isn't already cut, I'll make sure it's cut and kind of pulled apart.
And then is there anything else that needs to
That's
be taken care of in that?
That's the only thing there. It shouldn't really take more than an hour to get rid of it, so it's not like I'm looking for any help or anything, I've just been hoping I'll get it done. So that was number 9. I remembered as it came in, that wasn't typed into it, but the fiscal year-end work, which is what Dennis was covering before, which I think is the filling in of the ditch and the light poles, right? I mean, essentially, we just got to, me, you, all, everybody can get on Chris's back and say, we've got to get this done now,
Yeah.
because people are,
The ditch literally has to be done
yeah,
now.
the ditch now and everything else that has to be
Later
done
now.
before, yeah, later now. But essentially, I would say we were looking to get, obviously, that done immediately, but everything else complete by the end of May, latest.
Yes.
Because we don't want to lose that money. We
No.
can't spend it after July 1st. you know?
And if there's some concern,
We really shouldn't spend it after June 1st.
well, if is there some concern that they might shut down spending in May?
Not in May. I don't, no, fiscal year end is June 30th. I don't believe that there's any shutdown spending. in
No,
May.
he said getting the price, or getting anything extra in price-wise, so the
But we
bills
already-
weren't
Filed
coming in,
in
but
May.
not.
I think we've already had the pricing in for this, and it's been,
Well, all we need is, for them to do the work. There was some controversy over the lights for the parking lot. We just need to get it done. We know what we have for money left. Get the guy out there to do it and submit his bill. Like, it's that easy for that. And then the other thing is, the electrician needs to go back out there, because I was very disappointed with the fact that there's one breaker in the panel, there's open slots, there's one outlet in the concession stand that's not gonna work. It needs to be
okay,
wired.
so let's get this down to the minutia. The ditch needs to be done
Immediately,
immediately.
yeah, because I can't have them out there practicing.
Okay, the lighting,
Immediately.
Huh?
You want the lighting immediately.
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
well, I mean, everything's immediately, I just need to get an order of,
No, the thing is, John, you know, I mean, you guys asked the townspeople last year, to appropriate that money to do this stuff.
yeah,
And you got more stuff you can be asking the townspeople for.
yeah, we've got
And it's a
it.
disservice to not do what the will of the town meeting, wanted to allow you to do, you know what I mean?
This has literally been going on for like
A year.
a year now, right?
Yeah.
I would say the
Which should have been done
lighting, say the
a year
second
ago.
week of May.
Okay,
That way, if they, how do I do that? If it falls behind, at least we're still satisfied.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
yep, okay, and the ditch being lit, and then what else?
The electrician needs to go out there and wire the snack shack appropriately.
I don't understand if he was like planning on coming back in the spring and finishing. That's what I'm thinking,
Okay.
probably, but we just don't wanna let that fall to the wayside.
Extra breakers and extra outlets?
There's only one outlet in there, that's not gonna
Yeah.
work. Once we get a fridge and a microwave and crock pots
Three
and,
crock pots on one breaker, it's just not gonna work.
I think we
Microwave
need-
and a crock pot at the same time.
I think we need, what, at least 3 breakers?
well, yeah, we need extra breakers,
And then-
but we need, I would say, 4 outlets in there.
At least 4.
So we got, let me think, there's one, as you walk in by the breaker, right? We really want at least 2 under where the window is, right? 'Cause that's
Absolutely.
Yeah,
where you
and then
want-
even one on the other,
On the back wall.
at least.
Yeah,
And
Because we're gonna have a fridge.
Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe if you have the existing one, put another 2 under there, probably another 2 on that one, another 2 on that, it's like an extra 6.
Absolutely. There's no reason we can't have.
I mean, they're not much to put in, it's like a,
You have 2 outlets on each wall, 1 breaker for each wall.
yeah,
You don't have to worry about overloading them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanna pop it in.
And then, do we have any exterior outlets?
And you want a, 1 outlet on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because,
but-
yeah.
You wanna be able to plug an extension cord.
Maybe
um,
2.
Well, once
Or
again,
plug something
you can put
in.
2 at one and have them all 1 breaker, I mean.
I think we should maybe have 2 on the
Yeah,
outside,
you
one
could
on
put one
either
on each
end.
side.
Yeah.
2 would probably be better, 1 on each side, that way you don't have to keep crossing lines or, and like you said, you can just put
Especially-
it outside.
Have we had the funds
You
already
can just put it on the same breaker anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had, I'll just give you an idea, hold on 1 sec, if she gave me that page. She's usually pretty good about. I'm sorry, guys.
So,
No, I don't have my book and I'm very sorry, but I wanna say we were given 13 and we've spent 3, let's say.
so we've got 10 grand to get the lights and,
That's just numbers off the top of my head, it might not be accurate, it should hold
We
me to it.
have.
But we
money
have
appropriated.
money in there and available to do everything we're talking about.
great, okay. Right, okay, I'll get Chris onto that immediately then.
Will someone else take that over and do it? I mean,
I think it has to go through Chris as the director, that's kind of his role.
He'll do it, we just have to push him.
Yeah, we just have to remind him, because he's,
You know, I think that he knows that, we're not.
I know it's in his head that it needs doing once the snow is melted, which, I mean, really has only been this last few days anyway, so. But let's get on to him right now.
Yeah, we just don't want to go in, like,
Oh,
put it
and,
down a long time ago.
and we need that parking lot up there graded or York graded or something, because somebody drove in there. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but those ruts are deep.
They did say that they were gonna get the, who's the commissioner for that end of
I don't
town?
have that page.
I'm
Who's the
not
commissioner for
sure.
that side of town?
Yeah, David Langley asked the selectmen if, they wanted him to go in and back drag it when it
That's
dragged
it.
up over.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if it ever went farther than that.
Well, I mean, really, we need the ditch done first, because I'm sure with the water they bring in there, that's gonna check it up again as well, so.
But I just don't want to forget
Yeah.
about that, because that's really bad.
Yeah, ditch, and then get it regraded, and then we can get all the, brush put in it.
And we do have in our field maintenance account, she didn't give me the printout for the capital thing, but she did give me the property maintenance, the budget was 3,600 and we spent 2,000. So we still have money available to do the parking lot on that line item.
Okay. Right, date of next meeting, which we've already got down, but that's a special meeting, so we should, if we're sticking to it once a month, we should be at the meeting
It would be.
22nd, oh no, 15th,
The 15th, it'll be early.
yeah.
May 15th. And that, we need to nail down the time and let Jen know if it's 6 or 6:30.
I mean, either works for me, so, I mean, it's been down in the books as 6:30, and we said 6 to, excuse me, to bring it forward. So, whichever we want, really. Which works best for everyone, 6:30 or 6?
I like 6.
The thing is that we're meeting once a month, I mean, this meeting's been 2 hours almost. I really think that we're doing ourselves a disservice starting at 6:30.
Okay, do 6. I'll let Jen know tomorrow. Any other business? No? Okay, I bring this meeting to a close then. Let's head off and get busy. Probably don't even be sure.